If we analyze the attractive sides and unsuccessful features of this trinity, then everything will be simple with the first two. The Nissan Qashqai crossover is well-equipped, sporty, and attractive. Its closest relative from Romania, Renault Duster, is inexpensive and pleases with excellent suspension. As for the Frenchman Renault Koleos, to be honest, he is not a Frenchman at all, but a Korean, and even almost a Japanese. We can say that it is quite original and, more than that, beautiful. And Koleos also has a great version with a diesel engine and a classic automatic in the transmission. Actually, only she deserves close attention in the used crossover market, which means that we will tell about her. And it's even good. Look, the Japanese designed the chassis, transmission, half of the engines, and the all-wheel drive system. The French drew an original look, based on the features of the concept of the same name. Having estimated the possibilities of production, as well as the fact that the idea belonged to the automotive division of Samsung Corporation and most of the work at the design stage was carried out by him, the release of the car was sent to South Korea at the company's plant in Busan. Not in the worst hands, it should be noted. All this predicted a resounding success for the crossover, if not for the diamond-shaped logo of the brand, under which it was published in 2008. At that time, the off-road vehicle under the Renault brand was not associated with anything other than the all-wheel drive version of the scenic minivan, which, in the form of the RX-4, did not gain good fame outside of France and Spain. By the way, in Korea, Koleos is known as the Samsung QM5 and is sold relatively well, given the abundance of classmates, competitors. Over time, potential buyers of the crossover found out a little more about it and began to vote more actively for Koleos in rubles and euros. They liked the most comfortable suspension, spacious interior, a large list of standard equipment, good dynamics, and good handling for quite same money. And the presence in the range of the version with a full-fledged automatic transmission and an economical diesel engine, coveted by tight-fisted citizens, helped to make the right decision. Problems with winter startup came after. What French cars don't like is the long winter. It cannot be said that in France it is always summer and there are no mountains with decent frosts. But not for 2 months. In the case of a diesel unit, oddly enough, there are few problems. The 2-liter turbo diesel, codenamed M9R, has become a natural continuation of the popular 1.9 DCI. The first cars in which it began to be used are the Renault Megane and Renault Laguna of the 2005 generation. Very quickly, the engine conquered the engine compartment of almost all Renault cars, including our hero. It should be noted that the predecessor of the diesel engine was the gasoline unit developed by Nissan, MR, in which, in addition to the power system, the block was also replaced, making it from cast iron. Today, a diesel version of it can also be found in some models of the Japanese manufacturer under the symbol M1D. The engine is equipped with a common rail injection system with piezoelectric injectors and a variable geometry turbocharger. The gas distribution mechanism is driven by a chain. There are 2 shafts in the head, and there are 4 valves for each cylinder. Depending on the compression ratio, 16:1 or 15:1, the engine is offered in several power and torque options. Operating experience has shown that the 2.0 DCI, being more dynamic and economical, causes fewer problems than its predecessor 1.9 DCI. Of the weaknesses, it should be noted the valve of the exhaust gas recirculation system, which likes to freeze after a long-standing car in the cold. Basically, this problem was typical for pre-styling cars, after which the unit was modernized. Replacing a faulty valve will cost 15,000 rubles, but cunning supporters of marginal economy simply jammed it. The second most frequently asked problem is the DPF filter, or, as it is also called, the particulate filter. It has a self-regeneration mode, which is extremely unstable in a city. If the car smokes and the check engine flashes, you have to go to the service and use special equipment. It will cost 600 to 900 rubles for the service. Of course, there are proposals for removing the filter and flashing the engine ECU, but we cannot recommend this, leaving this unethical action on the conscience of readers. For owners who do not give a damn about the motor, it happens that they turn the liners when running for barely 100,000 kilometers. It's even inconvenient to write about the cost of repairs, since you can easily buy a used motor for this money. Avoiding the problem is also easy. You just need to change the oil to a new good one in time. There are few problems with it, so it is with the transmission. The 5-speed automatic is reliable, does not require frequent maintenance, works smoothly, gently and confidently. but the suspension may require costs from the owner. Koleos has good cross-country ability, traction control, and all-wheel drive with an electronically controlled multiplate clutch. For many owners, it turns out to be a pleasant discovery that this Renault is very good off-road. Let's say it's better than the Duster, which many have already attributed to the camp of off-road vehicles, only small ones, and competes with the Niva on weekend rides. But the Renault suspension does not like high speeds on bad roads. The first to surrender, as always, are the bones of the stabilizers. First the front, after the back. They are not so cheap, 800 and 600 rubles. For a set from Renault. The entire stabilizer from the manufacturer, by the way, can cost 6,000 rubles. Following the bushings and stabilizer struts, shock absorbers begin to tap. The front ones cost about 50 euros, the rear ones, about 40 euros. The ball joint is changed separately from the lever and is inexpensive. It is possible for 700 rubles. Fine. The scary stories with the electronic key card distributed by the owners of Laguna may stem from the general illiteracy of these same owners. Otherwise, how can you explain that they do not read the factory manual? But it clearly says that the key must be recharged by periodically inserting it into the socket on the panel, and not carried all the time in your pocket, taking it out just to brag to the girls. Firstly, the girls will not appreciate it anyway, and secondly, key recovery is troublesome and expensive. A new one costs about 100 euros with reprogramming. Otherwise, the interior and equipment of Koleos does not interfere with the joy of the acquisition. Moderately spacious, moderately compact. Trunk, from 460 liters to a cubic meter, if you fold the rear seats. 5 adults are placed, but happiness will not be experienced for long. But the kids are fine. And in general, Renault Koleos is a very family car, ready to travel. And not only to the nearest supermarket,